Hello, everybody. Welcome to CripChat, your weekly podcast for everything disability. Today, I have with me Jonathan Shar,
Hello.
Ibby D, myself, David D. Today, we're going to be talking about disability and being prepared for emergency. Please like and share.
Thank you very much for that, David. Welcome to CripChat. We'll be talking about disability and emergency preparedness. We've now entered the season where we're going to come across natural disasters such as heat waves, bushfires, floods, thunder. All of those are coming into play, and so we need to ask ourselves: are we really prepared for these emergencies? So, David, I ask you, why is it important that we prepare for such emergencies?
It's because you want to be able to survive out there and not worry others, but also your family and friends, they can be less worried about you.
Oh yeah, especially having a disability. We need to look out for ourselves, but also look out for each other and make sure that nobody gets left behind in such emergencies.
We don't want our relatives or our friends to worry about us. So always keep in contact with them so they can understand that you're doing fine. And if you do need anything, let them know if you're struggling.
But it's always good to, prepare yourself if such an emergency happens that you're well prepared and of course you follow up on what you need to do in order to survive. Yeah.
So what's the best way you reckon one should do that? Have a special bag that's an emergency bag that you can just grab on the go?
I think so, David. Look, it will be good to talk about, the tips and advice. We can talk about that later on. But look, let's hear from you, David. Describe, a time when you had to prepare yourself in an emergency.
I make sure every time I've got a bag that if I need something, it's got all my emergency stuff there. I got my medication, my phone charger, everything, power band,
Mm.
everything I need in there. So if I ever have to just jump out and go, I've got it. And if you've had anything that set you back,
Yes, sir. Look, we've almost been exposed to some flooding. Fortunately, we managed to escape the area. But in a situation like that, you would need to, of course, pack up your essentials. So, like your health needs, of course, that's the most important. So, making sure you carry around whatever you need to, survive. For me, I use like a CPAP. So for those of you out there, CPAP is a machine that you put on when you sleep to help when you have sleep apnea or I guess difficulty breathing at night. That's one of the essentials I need for survival. So it's always good to have a spare if you can afford it. Otherwise, make sure that you have a bag where you can put it in and safely carry it with you when you evacuate. For powered wheelchair users like myself, I'll make sure that I got spare batteries with me, but also I got a charger to help charge my wheelchair when I need to evacuate.
yeah.
Also, it's always good to focus on your personal hygiene. So, carrying those essentials, toothbrush, toothpaste, whatever medication you need. And just like David said, put it in a small bag for whenever a situation does arise. You could just carry the bag and evacuate when needed.
And always check those things are not expired in that bag. Don't just forget about them.
Yes, because it can be a long time before you, I guess, look into it. So make sure they're always updated. That's a very good tip, David.
In a flood, would it be wise to take your electric wheelchair with you?
Oh, that's a good question, David. Look, if we're, I guess we've given the warning that there's floods due to happen in our area, and the area is dry, then I guess you can take your powered wheelchair with you, because you go somewhere away from the floods. However, if you're trapped in a flood area, then if you have any spare wheelchairs lying around, yeah, you would probably have to use those. And just hope that the flood doesn't wash away your bowed wheelchair. Those things can be pretty expensive.
What about you, David? How do you prepare yourself in
The way I prepare myself, I just let my families and friends know where I am and how I'm doing, and just make sure I've got my bag that I'm ready. So if I need to go, I've got my needs and the medication, my drops, and some spare clothes. Clothes that is easier to get to later on because you can always clothes from somewhere else. They're not specific. Make sure you got your medication and my cane and the spare cane too, and my phone and everything.
Thank you for that, David. Of course, carry all your essentials. In saying that, do you have a person-centered emergency preparedness plan? So a PCEP plan?
Do I have one? You know what? No, I don't.
Yeah, look, neither do I. But I think it's a very useful resource.
today's proper planning resource from Queensland's with Disability Network.
So these resources you can get from the internet, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's a plan where people, I guess, list down a checklist of what to have with you. Well, thank you very much for that, Jonathan. So yes, Jonathan has just uploaded the website. You can look into to get a person-centered emergency preparedness plan.
So is that on the internet? Is there a website for that, or
So qdn.org.au gain access to it and get a copy of the PSEP. So the person-centered emergency preparedness plan. And that's ideal to help you, I guess, in terms of when you come across a disaster or an emergency. But it's always good.
what would that do?
It's planning the steps you need to take in an emergency.
It prepares like a plan for you when an emergency happens. So step by step plan. Is that right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So look into it at qdn.org.au and follow the steps. And I think it's a very useful tool when you do come across an emergency.
I guess that's a good idea.
We go to now our tips and advice. And David, you've mentioned that before, but mention it again. What are some tips and advice you would like to share to the audience regarding emergency preparedness?
Always keep in touch with family and let them know where you are and how you're doing, and let them know your situation. Make sure you have a bag that you have all your goods, all your needs, medication, and your first aid. Make sure you've got a first aid with you too. Also, check your bag always to make sure that the actual products that are in there are always up to date, not out of date. And just make sure you keep yourself healthy and have spare stuff with you. and always have spare money with you because maybe you can't get to money later on.
Very good advice and tips, David. So the things that you need, make sure you prioritize them first. But always, it's always good to reach out to your friends, family, to make sure that you're okay, and also reach out to your peers.
So, Ibby, what are your advice?
Reaching out to your peers, your friends, and family, most important, but also keeping the things that you need. Instead of spending time picking what you want to take with you, make sure you have a bag ready for all your essentials when it is time to evacuate. Always check the news, any updates on what's happening around you. Be alerted and be responsive. I think always carry your device like your mobile phone in case you need to reach out to someone.
Also, Ibby, the emergency bag can also be used in case you need to go to family members and have a sleepover. You've got that bag there straight away, ready for you.
Yeah, that I guess you can have another bag, but I guess look, you would need a bag for an emergency. Go for a sleepover. You can do that anytime, whenever you want. But for an emergency, sometimes you're not very prepared for it. And that's why you need to have, your essentials ready for you.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, choosing what you want, but, making sure that you have it there ready when the time comes.
What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, look, final thoughts, emergency preparedness. We are coming at a season where we're going to come across, many natural disasters like bushfires, floods, thunder. But you got to be on the alert. Always pay attention, watch the news, and see what's happening around you. Always pack up essentials when you need to evacuate, and just make sure that you have everything ready for you when the time comes. Always be prepared. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
And also, it's important that governments and local councils consider our needs in terms of emergency planning.
So local councils and the government should prioritize people with disability in the emergency plans. Very important.
Ibby, also, I forgot to mention, all this time, I know I can't see, but have a torch in there, in that bag too.
Carry a flashlight, part of the essentials. Good stuff, good stuff. What are your final thoughts, David?
Well, it's always important to be prepared for an emergency because later on, because you never know what's going to happen later on. You want to be prepared for the emergencies, then not run around and say and miss something later on.
Yep, for sure.
Medication and needs.
Cool. All right, thank you, everyone. Yeah, you've been watching CripChat, your weekly podcast on everything disability. Join us next week as we talk about more things disability. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
Bye.